It's time for another Dice Tower review with Z Garcia.
Hey everybody, today I'm taking a look at the expansion to Steam Park, Play Dirty, this one right here. This is a modular expansion, comes with several different parts you can add to the game, you can mix and match. So I'm going to give you a look at everything that comes in here, the way it all works, and we're going to come on back, I'll tell you what I thought of each of the different modules, but I'm not going to show you how to play the game. If you want to check out how to play Steam Park, go check out our video for that. Having said that, I'm going to assume you know how to play this already. Let's dive in. Let's take a look at Play Dirty. As I said, this expansion for Steam Park is modular, so you get to mix and match which parts of it you want to play with. You can throw them all in, you can play them just one at a time. Do it however you want to. So let me show you the different parts that come in here and what each part does, all right? First and foremost, the simplest here is you can now play with a fifth player. So you're going to get dice for that, you're going to get a player board, starting board here, as well as a new spot for drafting while you are rolling the dice. The game, if you play with 5 players, would be 1 round shorter, which is intended to keep the game length at about the same, but do be aware you are technically doing less in the game with 5 players, so you just have to sort of know that going in, all right? So 5th player. Over here we have the stingy robots, which are a new kind of robot. They make it into the bag when you've run out of another color, and you can then add these in. And when they come out, they can go on any ride. They're a wild color. They pay a little less because, again, they're stingy, so that you only get 2 coins for each of these. But they don't produce any dirt. They're very clean robots, and so you can choose to play with those. And in fact, if you have the Robots mini expansion, you can even choose to play with these. They come in that expansion as well. So check out my video of the Robots mini expansion if you want to hear more about these and about what else comes in that mini expansion. Go check that out. Besides that, we've also got the ride extensions right over here. We have 2 of each of the 3 sizes, so 2 3s, 2 2s, 2 1s, okay? And as you can see, they come in 2 different kinds here. We have the golden and we have the rusty. The way these work is they are an extension of another existing ride. They just add on to the size of that, but these can take any color. If you put a color on there that does not match the ride they are extending, then after scoring, those robots are going to go away. If they do match, they stay on there, but if you fill the entire extension with the matching color of whatever they're attached to, then you're going to pay a one-time penalty. If it's a golden ride, you're going to pay 2 coins for that. And if it is a rusty ride, well, they create dirt and rust. You get 2 dirt because of that. Okay, that's for, as you can see, it tells you right there. It has the wild colored circles there and the penalty printed right on there. So that's the way all these work. You can choose to extend a ride, maybe get some extra benefits out of whatever that color is. And again, you might not want to match, but if you do match, they stick around. So that's the way those work. We have also, besides that, you've got over here the dice that the game calls espionage dice, and everybody would get 1 of these. And so that would be a 7th die for everyone. And it works just like the other dice, except for a little twist. You start with 4 coins. Because of this die, you're going to start with 4 more money, okay? And then when you are rolling, you are including that die in your roll. Again, you can freeze it whenever you want to, put it on your piggy board. But the idea here is you want to be watching the player to your right as you are rolling this die and deciding when you want to freeze it, because this one's going to cost you 4 coins, 4 money to use this die. You can always just not use it. You can just get rid of it and not get that power, but it's going to cost you 4. However, it's going to cost you 1 less for every time the player to your right rolled that symbol there. And so if you're paying attention, you could even get this for free. And it adds a little bit of interaction between the players. Again, in real time, you need to be watching what's going on over there deciding when you want to keep this one. It's a very interesting addition to the whole thing. We also have some new stands, which are all in here. Lots of different new stands that you can choose to play with. You can mix and match with the old ones and the new ones here. And the game even gives you all of these tiles to put on the board and remind you what it is they do. Again, they're a little bit cryptic, so you are going to have to read what it is they do. But these allow you, these tiles, to inform every player at the table of which ones you are playing with. And they're a nice inclusion, these tiles. Just choose the ones you want to play with. Again, they can be just new. They can be a mix of the old and the new. And they add some variety, some special powers to the whole thing. Very nice addition there. And then lastly, we have these over here, which are called the park directors. I'll just put them right there. And the way these work is these are going to change some basic rule in the game for the entirety of the game. And so at the beginning of the game, you're going to choose one of these, or you can randomly draw one of them, put them on the table. They change the way the entire game works. So for example, the planner here, during the roll phase, you may roll your dice one time only and place them on your piggy board, one die at a time, changing the results as you wish. So it just changes that phase. What do we have here? Over here we have the Barker, they call this one. When you draw visitors of the wrong color, you put them on the Barker tile here instead of the visitors pool. And when you attract visitors for each die that you spend, you can choose to directly take one from here instead of the normal action. Sort of a holding place for non-matching robots. Again, this changes the flow of the game a little bit. This one over here, the sweeper, when you clean dirt for each 2 of the brooms you spend, you discard half of your dirt. A single one has no effect, okay? It just doesn't do anything. And so you gotta get 2, and then you get rid of half the dirt. And so on. They do different things like that, all right? So as you can see, several different ones. You can choose to play with one and change up the entire game. So that's basically everything that comes in here. And as I said, you can mix and match all of this stuff however you want to. So let's go back up top. I'm going to talk you through these, tell you which ones I really liked, which ones I thought were just okay. Just give you a general impression of the overall expansion as a whole. So let me start by saying that I like this expansion. I think it's a good one for people who are already fans of the game. It's going to give you more of the same, a couple of little twists, but it does not reinvent the wheel. If you're someone who did not enjoy the game originally, this extra content is not going to change your mind. But if you are someone who did like it, I think you're going to find something to enjoy here. You might not like it all, but something in here is going to be to your liking, I believe. And so I feel that same way myself. I don't like every part, but there are many things here that are enjoyable. So let me tell you what I like. The park directors, I'm just going to go down the list here going off of the rulebook. Park directors, I like them. They're kind of wacky, but they're interesting, and I like that you learn one new rule, whatever that thing may be that bends the rules in the original game, and it's in effect for the entire game. I like that. Some of the other ones, as I'll talk about in just a second, you learn new content, new rules, and it barely comes into play. And I'm not as big a fan of that. So new directors, yeah, funky, probably the weirdest part, but interesting. The new stands, absolutely. More of the stands is sort of an expansion that designs itself. I like that. You can mix and match now. You can usually people don't even need to know that is an expansion. You pick the ones you want to play with, throw them in there, and you can have yourself a different or slightly different experience every time, right? I like that very much. 5th player, I do not like that. I think the game is great at 4 players. At 5th players, you are now doing less per player just so you can play with an extra person. That doesn't bring that much to the game anyway because the interaction here is minor, right? So I will typically avoid playing with a 5th player. Not a game that I think scales up to that particularly well. The stingy visitors, those are fine, but again, it's one of those things that doesn't come into play a lot. I actually like the golden ones from the robots expansion more than the stingy ones because I feel they come into play a little more. They're a little more similar to the original concept, whereas these have different value, no dirt. You can only put them in there when a color runs out, all of that stuff. So it's okay, I'll throw them in there, but not one that I'll be upset if it's not in play. The ride extension's neat, but this one is the one I was talking about that has a lot of rules that I wish was a little more straightforward, And they work, they do come into play, and I enjoy playing with them, but it's the one thing that if I'm playing with new players, I'll not want to include, because I have to explain how rides work, how colors of the robots match the colors of the rides. That makes sense, that's great, but then I got to explain that, with these, then it doesn't have to do that, but if it does, you get to keep them, but if you keep them all, then you got to pay a penalty. So I like them, but only if you're an advanced player. You've played a lot of Steam Park. The espionage dice I really like. It's one of my favorite things in here because it adds, again, interaction with few rules, and it matters every round, every turn. And so I like that. And it's not something that's punishing. If you aren't paying attention, you realize you have to pay the full amount for coins, for money, for it, then you don't have to. You just not take that die, and that's okay, And so that's sort of how I feel about them all. Overall, I'm positive. I really like the directors, I really like the stands, I really like the espionage. The other ones are okay. But overall, and based on the strength of the original game, I am going to give this expansion a seal of approval. I think if you are someone who enjoyed the original game, I would recommend that you go out and get Play Dirty. It's not going to rewrite the whole thing, but it's going to give you more of what you like and possibly discover something new you didn't know you'd like that you will. So there you have it. That is Steam Park Play Dirty expansion.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.